Okay, so I ran into a problem when I was trying to rebuild my 2022 Indian Chief Dark Horse. Let me show you what I got. Okay, so this here is the rear wheel from my 2022 wrecked Indian Chief Dark Horse. It looks perfectly fine, right? The rim looks okay, the tire looks okay, but that really is not that big of a deal. Okay, seeing that the rear wheel is not damaged, what's the problem? Well, this is the problem. That is cracked between there, that's cracked between there, that's cracked between there. Basically, this entire rim is cracked. All right. Okay. So yeah, you guys can see we got a decent rotor here, but closer you look, this cast aluminum is cracked there, completely in there. Yeah, this rim is absolutely no good. So I had to get a new one. Cast aluminum wheels are not cheap, and of course Indian is going to charge you a good penny to get you a brand new front wheel. So I had a decision to make. Me getting a new front wheel for a 2022 Indian Chief Dark Horse is upwards of $850. So again, I have a good rear wheel, but I needed a front wheel. But for me, I couldn't fathom just spending $850 for a brand new wheel. So I did go out, look on eBay, couldn't find one, and I found another solution. Before I give you that solution, let me show you kind of where my head is as I decided to kind of design this Indian Chief Dark Horse out, because I have the bike stripped all the way down to the frame because we had to fix a motor issue. But let me show you what I got. We do have a 200mm Avon Cobra tire. We're going to be putting this on the rear of the Indian Chief. Right here we have a 180 on the Super Chief that's right here, so you guys can kind of get an idea of the comparison. It's not super big, but it is bigger, but it definitely fills out the rear end a lot better than the stock 180. And since we have the Indian Chief torn all the way down to the frame, I had that frame powder coated. So let me show you kind of my idea on what color scheme we're gonna do for this bike, or we've already done for this bike rather. All right, so this is one of the side panels for Chief, and it has been powder coated in Astro Black. So we have a slight overcast today, or a very overcast day, so you're not going to get all of the flake that you would normally see in the sunlight, but you can clearly see that is very shiny compared to that gloss black that comes stock on the bike. So yeah, this is one of the color schemes that we're going with. For the frame, I wanted to go a bit more out there and get more creative. And with the frame, you have to match other parts to the frame, like the suspension struts. So let me show you what stock looks like. This is the Super Chief's suspension struts in their stock form. They're gloss black. You can see they match the bike, right? They're black. Can't go wrong with black. And this is the color of the strut that's going on Indian Chief Dark Horse. So it's still going to be a dark horse. It's just going to be a little bit more colorful. I'm not able to see all of the flake in this, but it's going to really pop when the sunlight hits it. I am very excited to see how all of this comes together, but I took it even further and more creative with the wheels. For the front tire, we have a 150 Avon Cobra, although this is not the stock for Indian Chief Dark Horse. The stock tire for a 2022 Indian Chief Dark Horse is 130mm, and it requires a 19-inch rim. But the one that we have now is 150mm, and the rim that we have is 16 inches. So let me show you what they started out as. I was able to find both of these wheels on eBay for around $250 a piece. One came off of a Chieftain and one came off of a Roadmaster. So $500 in, and we're still less than the price of a brand new Indian Chief Dark Horse wheel, which is around $850. And naturally, that's gonna happen because the bike is still new. There's not enough supply of used parts for this bike still. So I still had another issue. Coming back to this damaged Chief wheel, if you notice, there's a rotor only on one side. And on this Chieftain, we have a rotor here, and we have a rotor there. So that means it's a dual rotor, dual caliper braking system. So with using a Chieftain and Roadmaster wheel on a Chief, that means that I now have a side of the braking system that's exposed. I can either put another rotor there, then put another brake caliper there and try to bridge it into the current braking system on Chief, but I decided not to do that. So what I did, I reached out to a machine shop and I have spacers being made so I can essentially block off that side of the rotor or the side of the wheel that I'm not using. One of the questions you might have is, how do I know that a Chieftain or a Roadmaster wheel will even work on Chief and not just mess something up? Well, previously I already determined that a Challenger switch works on Chief when I was rebuilding the first one. So naturally I went and researched the part numbers, and a lot of the big touring lineup parts actually match on Chief. Not all of them, but for this application, the rotor, the wheels, the screws, all of this stuff will work with, I guess, a few modifications. So we know what the wheels look like before we got them. Chieftain, Roadmaster wheels. They have that weird chrome and black on them. Let me show you what one of them looks like when you get it powder coated. All right, what you are seeing here is I don't actually know which one it is, if it's the Roadmaster or the Chieftain wheel, but this is a real wheel for a big touring Indian motorcycle. And this is the side that the rotor goes on. Also, you can see this side. This is the side that the sprocket goes on, and I was unable to get these bearings out before I took the powder coating, so I still have to get those out, but this is what the wheel looks like. It's amazing what a little bit of powder coat can do to a wheel. Let's see it up close. There's one more piece to this puzzle that I haven't figured out yet, and that involves the TPMS sensor that comes on the big touring wheels. So Indian Chief wheels, the 2022 models, do not come with TPMS sensors, which show the I guess the tire pressures on the ride command. But the Chieftain wheels that I have came with TPMS sensors. I don't know where they are. I misplaced them in this garage. So my theory is maybe I can put these on these wheels and link them up to the ride command on Chief, and then we'll be able to see the tire pressures in the ride command. So I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna get a few and see if we can do that. But that is something that I'm also determined to figure out if it will work or not. So that is my solution to a very expensive problem with rebuilding this bike. When you break down the costs, I probably will be spending the same, if not more, for this wheel setup for the front and the rear, getting the spacers made, trying to figure out if the TPMS sensors are gonna work. I got new tires, both front and back, for the Chief, compared to just buying a new wheel direct from Indian. But this is more custom. We're figuring things out, and it's just gonna look so much better, and nothing else is gonna look like it. So I think the $900 to $1,000 that we're spending on just the wheel setup is definitely gonna be worth it. This is more than just changing out the wheels, because we're also changing out the width of the front end from a 130 to a 150, and we're also changing out how thick the meat of the tire is around the rim from a 60 aspect ratio to an 80. So that's going to make the wheel sit taller. The bobber wheel with the spokes is a 130/60, and we're putting a 150/80 on it with the same rim setup at a 16. So it's definitely going to change up the look of the bike for the better. That is where my thoughts are with this. We are in new territory, trying to figure out whether or not this will work, but I'm pretty confident that it will. So let me know what y'all think about this down below. Do you like the new wheels, and would you try this on your own motorcycle? Let me know down below, and let's get the conversation started. But if you have not already seen the video where we took my Indian Chief Dark Horse all the way down to, I guess, the bare crankcase, you can click right here and watch that video. And also, I give away motorcycles at some point, so if you want to catch up on the latest motorcycle that I'm giving away, you can also click right here and go to my website and check that out. But as always, thanks for listening to my story, and if you're subscribed, which I hope you are, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.